Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the factual errors I first came across when reading the Quran. It is an introduction to this area, and I will deal with it in more detail when I do a series on science in the Quran. I hope this video will give some details about the specific problem passages. One example of a difficult passage comes from the Surah of Al-Tariq. This passage is talking about where sperm comes from, and it says, "So let man see from what he is created. He is created from a water gushing forth, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. Verily, Allah is able to bring him back to life." We in fact know that sperm comes from the testicles, not between the backbone and the ribs, so this is a time when Muhammad gets it wrong. If the Quran gets something right, then maybe it is from God, maybe it is not from God. However, if it makes a mistake, that is a strong piece of evidence that it is not from God. In the same way, the earlier video talked about the setting of the sun, and we saw that the Quran says it sets in a muddy pool, and this just is not true. These are clear scientific mistakes. So now we are going to look at some historical issues. We are going to begin with crucifixion. In Surah An-Nisa, the Surah of Women, it says, "And because of their saying, we killed Messiah Jesus, son of Maryam, the messenger of Allah, but they killed him not, nor crucified him. But the semblance of Jesus was put over another man, and those who differ therein are full of doubts. They have no certain knowledge, they follow nothing but conjecture, for surely they killed him not. But Allah raised him, Jesus, up, with his body and soul unto himself, and he is in the heavens, and Allah is ever all-powerful, all-wise." So in this passage, the Quran is saying that Jesus was not killed, but that someone else took his appearance. Elsewhere, in the Meccan Surah of Maryam, the Quran records Jesus as saying, "And peace be upon me the day I was born, and the day I die, and the day I shall be raised alive." So here the Quran says that Jesus dies. It speaks of the day he dies, and of him coming back to life. So here we have a good old-fashioned contradiction. My second point about crucifixion is more general, from the Surah of Al-Araf, the 7th Surah of the Heights, where it says, "Pharaoh said, 'You have believed in him before I give you permission. Surely this is a plot which you have plotted in the city to drive out its people, but you shall come to know. Surely I will cut off your hands and your feet on opposite sides, then I will crucify you all.'" So here Pharaoh threatens to punish his advisors by cutting off their hands and feet on opposite sides and crucifying them. This same story can be found many times throughout the Quran. The references are on the screen. The problem with this is that when you go back and look at the history, the crucifixion is not invented until 1,000 years after the time of Pharaoh. You can find one of the first examples of crucifixion in the Greek history book by Herodotus. In response to this, people have said, "Oh no, when the Quran says crucifixion, it means impalation." However, when the Arabic word silb is used in the Quran or wider sources, it always seems to refer to crucifixions. There are no strong literary examples of it ever being used for impalation. In fact, there is another word entirely for impalation in Arabic. This does not seem to be a good answer. It seems more likely that this is an anachronism. Crucifixion was a known punishment at the time of Muhammad, and Muhammad inserts the phrase into the mouth of Pharaoh, even though Pharaoh could never have said it. I hope this gives you a number of quick examples of factual errors in the Quran. Thank you for your time.